Hello, this is Idodmg and welcome back to the channel. In this Superfuse video, I want to talk to you about the Berserker mastery called Combat. This is my all-time favorite mastery for the Berserker, and I can't wait to talk to you about the skills. This is not really going to be a build guide video per se, but we are going to talk about all the skills that the Combat Berserker has to offer. If you haven't already, you can check out my other Berserker videos that I have for the Lightning build and the Brute Force build. After you check out this video, go on over and check those out next. Let's go ahead and talk about the Combat Berserker. The Combat Berserker has 4 different skills that you can unlock. There's Frenzy, Rally, Heavy Strike, and Tornado. Tornado is my all-time favorite one. Make sure you watch to the end of the video to make sure you see that one in action. It's juicy, it's fun, it's your normal spin to win, but it is really fun in this game. The very first skill you unlock with the combat specialization is Frenzy. Frenzy is a damaging weapon skill, melee skill ability. And one thing I've found out with weapon skill abilities, they're really special in the sense that you can actually equip different elemental strikes to them with fuses. And what these strike fuses do is they add flat damage to your abilities and to the skill overall. I don't recommend lightning because it has a very wide range. You can see 0 to 60 lightning. You kind of want something with a tighter range, like fire, for example, has 15 to 45. And you can stack these strikes up to 3 times. So this is not just for Frenzy. This is for pretty much every weapon skill, every skill that has the weapon skill tag in the game. Just a cool little thing for you to check out if you haven't yet. So what Frenzy does is it will punch around you in a devastating combo attack, and every third attack you'll do a AoE spin type maneuver. When you very first unlock Frenzy, here's what it will look like. You get this right as soon as you make your character. Again, I'm on a little bit of a lower level map, so I'm kind of one-shotting stuff. Maybe I should go over to the solar maps, but we're just kind of showing off the animation, what the skill looks like here. This is what it does. You just 1, 2, 3, and then you do a spin with a little bit of cleave there, which is nice. Overall, a fun skill. It feels really fluid and fun to use when you first start out. A couple things you can do to it is you can come in here and you could add on the dash fuse. If you haven't found this yet, I do recommend checking it out. It's really good. And you can use the dash, you can use this fuse on any melee skill in the game, and it's great. It just allows you to dash to your target. Oh, there you go. That's what it looks like. I've noticed some of the skills are a little bit clunky with dash, like you'll dash and then there's a little microsecond before you attack, which feels pretty bad, but hopefully they smooth that out. Dash backwards there. That was a little glitchy. But that's Frenzy. I was just reading a forum earlier. Some guy said he's went through the whole game just using Frenzy. And I'm sure if you juice this up with like attack speed, lifesteal, stuff like that, you could really kind of level up Frenzy. But yeah, it's a great starter skill. It's fun to use. No complaints there. As you go along the combat mastery path here, next you will unlock Rally. And this is a buff. It's a rallying cry that increases your defensive stats and your allies' stats as well. And if you're playing with someone that's playing minions, this will buff their minions as well. This has the area of effect tag, buff, and cooldown. So you can get like cooldown reduction, a bigger area, all that fun stuff. It also says it gives plus 50 energy recharge speed, 50 max health. Overall, this skill, I mainly just used it to buff up my max health. Here's what it looks like. Pretty cool little animation. You can see it is a full 30-second buff. For some reason it lasts longer. Not sure. I must have spec'd into it somewhere. But it doesn't debuff the monsters or anything like that. So, you can always, pull a big group and then right before you're about to go in, just use it. Buff up yourself so you're ready. And go in there. Oh, we actually did a little spin to win. Consider that a teaser for what's to come. Keep watching this. I like the combat build. This one's really fun. Next up, we have Heavy Strike. Heavy Strike is a powerful single target melee strike. This has damaging weapon skill and melee skill. This skill I was not a big fan of. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know why. I didn't spend much time with the skill, to be fair. But here's what it looks like. You can see it in action. Again, I'm kind of one-shotting mobs here because I'm way over leveled. So. But if we were to go into a solar map, I can tell you it would not be like this here. We'll zoom in. You can see what it looks like. It's got a little bit of cleave and stuff. These guys have shields, so that's not really good. You can see that this skill has quite a bit of wind-up time. Again, this is Heavy Strike. Has just quite a bit of wind-up time, and I really don't I don't like that big of a wind-up time on my skills personally, but you could probably, you know, change that with your attack speed and all that stuff. I have thought about using Heavy Strike and putting some fuses in it to kind of ramp it up for when I'm fighting bosses and stuff. Because what we're going to talk about next is the spin to win. This is actually called Tornado. Here's what it looks like. Check it out. Thing's awesome. Feels so good to use. So fun to use. We're going to go over to Solar Map for this one. So the final skill that you can unlock with the Combat Mastery, and the very final note over here is still in development yet, but there's also, I didn't go this far into it. I just didn't feel the need to. But the Tornado skill here, this is, I mean, this is probably the highlight of the Combat Mastery, in my opinion, because this is your standard spin to win build, right? It's fun. It's so fun to use. Tornado has quite a bit going on with it, so it does have quite a few tags. And remember, the poison damage and fire damage is because I have actual strikes in here. So if I were to take these off, those wouldn't be there. We showed that in another video, so we're not going to go over that again. So Tornado has your damaging, area of effect, weapon skill, and melee skill. So with the weapon skill, you can get those strike fuses, which I recommend. I have compared Crush. I went with a 3 Crush, which remember is your shockwave, but it does reduce the skill damage. I also got rid of 3 of the strikes and instead put in more crit chance and crit damage. You can see I have 1 crit chance and 2 crit damages down here. I will say the strikes seem to be a little bit better than the crush, and they also seem to be a little bit better than just going full crit. So if you're thinking about using this skill, I do recommend, you know, at least going with 3 strikes. You can pick whatever element you want, so you can kind of gear around that element. But remember, that adds it on top of your physical damage as well. But before we get too much off track, let's focus on the skill Tornado here. I'll go ahead and take off everything so you can see what it is by default. So here it is. Blank tree. This is what it is when you very first get it. It is pretty slow. It's a pretty slow build. I think it's like the same speed that you walk at, but here's what it is by default. You can see it's not very good by default, and that's because we don't have any fuses on it. That's why I think that it's really not fair of me to sit here and say, well, I don't like this skill. It doesn't do very much damage. But that's just because I haven't put fuses in it, like that heavy strike that I was talking about. I did mess around with Frenzy quite a bit. But, I'm sure you could bring these skills to be just as good, probably. But Tornado just feels so much more fun to use. So anyway, Tornado has a couple tags we went over already. And my all-time favorite fuses to use with Tornado is this one here called Torrent. This increases your movement speed while you're spinning. You can see they can roll from 40 to 60%. I don't think I have any full 60s. Looks like my highest is a 45 and a 50. So you can do all 3 torrents if you want. I'll show you what the speeds look like. Here's with 1 torrent. Here's with 2. And then here's with 3 torrents. Remember, this does increase your energy cost, but that's the same. And it goes really fast. Now my problem was my Tornado doesn't do enough damage yet for me to just kind of roll this fast through. I still have to kind of backtrack, and make sure I'm still hitting them. So I only went into 2 of these fuses, the torrent fuse, just because I felt like, 10 DNA could be used elsewhere to kind of bolster up my damage. That's going to wrap it up for the Combat Berserker here on Superfuse. I know there's only 4 skills, but I wanted to make sure we go ahead and go over them. Since I've covered the other 2 specializations, I figured why not? If you enjoyed this video, had some fun hanging out, watching it, maybe found something useful, whatever it is, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more action RPG videos. I'm planning to keep playing Superfuse. I'm having a good time and trying to pace myself a little bit, but I do plan to roll out some more videos for you. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Go ahead and enjoy some gameplay here for a minute, though, first.